And right as I'm going live with the show, the internet starts blinking out. Great. Well, I hope y'all can watch this. I hope y'all enjoy the show through choppy internet here. It's not even snowing. I don't know what's going on, but we're here for now. Hopefully here for the next half hour or so. It's Cecil Lammey, soon to be joined by Andrew Mason. It is Orange and Blue today. It is talking about the Denver Broncos, and really Friday is the game preview day when we look at the next opponent and we preview exactly what's going to happen in this contest. But obviously the big news of the day, Russell Wilson shut down for the Denver Broncos, even though he went through the concussion protocol. This was the right move. This was the right move for the Denver Broncos because, one, they can beat the Cardinals with Brett Rippon. I'm writing my game plan at denverfan.com right now. So if you look at the situation, you go, okay, can Brett Rippon beat this team? Sure. Especially with the talented players the Broncos do have on both sides of the ball. Then you go to the long-term health of Russell Wilson. That was my greater concern with this Russell Wilson concussion situation. He was working his way through the concussion protocol quickly. That's exactly what he does. It's what we all expected to do. He's drinking his secret water or whatever he does to get over the concussion, but it's a brain bruise. And it's an injury that needs and requires time and proper care to get over in the right way. So, hey, Russell Wilson's not playing. That's good news. That's good news because this year doesn't matter. Next year is what matters. And I know you're playing for pride and you want to see which guys want to be here. I get all these sorts of things. And I still believe that can be true with Brett Rippon as your quarterback. Now, as WNC Broncos fans points out in the chat room, why is Brett Rippon on a roster? I get it. Brett Rippon is not a great backup quarterback, probably in the 30s when it comes to backup quarterbacks. There's not a lot of film on him. And he's facing advanced Joseph defense that, while they do have playmakers, the Cardinals do not lack for playmakers on both sides of the ball, honestly. They're inconsistent as the day is long, and, you could blame coaching, whatever. But, okay, Brett Rippon, go out there and don't lose it. If they do, it's disappointing again, but you've got 10 losses. What hasn't been disappointing? There's very few bright spots for this Broncos team. You've got some players here and there. Hopefully a Draymond Jones sticks around. Hopefully a Dalton Risner can stick around. You have all these situations that are up in the air for the future, but the future has to include Russell Wilson because you paid him. Some of you might not like that. Paul, by the way, passed concussion protocol to listen to Orange and Blue today. Paul, thank you. We appreciate it. And my new shirt looks orange, even though I think it's red. Anyway, it's kind of orange, right? There you go. Orange and Blue today, now with more orange. My Aquaman shirt. But okay, look, Russell Wilson doesn't need to play in this game. He doesn't need to prove his toughness. And there are some that have misconceptions about Russell Wilson. He's a me guy. I say he's not enough of a me guy. And maybe, he needs to be a little bit more authentic. We all know that. And I'm not saying that he's a phony, but he just doesn't act like a regular person. He acts like a zillionaire because he is a zillionaire and his wife's a zillionaire. And congratulations. But in a football locker room, when you're dealing with guys with all sorts of different backgrounds, you're a zillionaire. You're a superstar, mega celebrity. Your wife's a even bigger mega celebrity. Okay, you got to act real. You can't sit down at the lunch table and be all awkward and then change the subject. Man, my second butler needed the day off, huh? What a jerk. Guys don't relate to that. So are there things with Russell Wilson that are out there that are true? Yes. Are there things with Russell Wilson that are out there that are fabricated or exaggerated? Yes. Yes, there are. And that's what we're here to do on this show, is just kind of tell you what's going on. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to, shy away from the news or the information. We're going to tell you what's going on with this team as much as we can. And both Mason and I have alluded to, there's more coming, everybody. There's Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, House of the Bronco, right? There's all that sort of stuff, but that's for the offseason. But right now we know that Russell Wilson is not going to play in week 15. And to that, I say, good. You know what else I say? I say, welcome in Andrew Mason to Orange and Blue today. Mace, the news of the day, Russell Wilson's not going to play. And I'm saying, good job, Broncos. That was the right call.
It was the right call. And I'll admit I was a little bit surprised by it, to be honest with you. I thought they would just simply lean on the protocol and say, passes the protocol, good to go. And they didn't do that. They saved Russell Wilson from himself a little bit. I think it was interesting that Nathaniel Hackett talked about the decision being organizational and all the way up to the top. So that implies that Greg Penner, and we sort of talked about this earlier, that implies that Greg Penner was involved with the decision here, which would make some sense.
Yeah, and you've talked about how there's a reason why Greg Penner's in the building.
Yeah,
he's in the building. He's around, and I was bringing up misconceptions with Russ and like how we're going to tell you the truth. There's a misconception about the Walton Penner group is like, this is just a side thing and they don't care about football. Like, okay, maybe they're learning football. That's a fair assessment, right? New business owners, you're learning football, but you also have a ton of resources. You have any resource you want because you're a billionaire 70 times over, but they care. And this sign with Russell Wilson doesn't want to sit. You kidding me? Russell Wilson doesn't want to sit. And he's going to have to sit because somebody upstairs said, this is what's best for the team.
Yeah. And, or maybe beyond the team, it's what's best for the organization. And I think that was actually a word that Hackett kept coming back to when he was answering questions about his press conference, came back to the best decision for the organization. The team you're talking about just this year. The best thing like for the Denver Broncos, the 2022 Broncos right now, probably would have been to play Russell Wilson, right? The best thing for the Broncos organization long term is to sit him for at least this game. Now, I think he'll be playing on Christmas Day against the Los Angeles Rams in the Nickelodeon Slime game. So I think he'll be good to go. One thing I will ask you, Cecil, because I just had this discussion with DMAC on the air on the drive just down the hall. What would you say to the NFL in the future simply saying, if you have a concussion, 10 days, you're not playing for the next 10 days?
Yeah, because we talked about it yesterday, we talked about it this morning on coffee break. Like, if you play Thursday night, you're not playing. You got a concussion on Sunday, you ain't playing on Thursday.
Right.
It should just be that way, like 10 days. So maybe if you play on Thursday, I guess doing the math, like you'd be able to play the next Sunday, right? In 10 days. So yeah, I mean, there's ways to be smart about this and to just kind of take the players' urge out of it. And that's still going to be there, guys. Some concussions last months, if not longer than that. So, there'll be some guys that fudge it again and they get in 10 days and they're still having effects and, light sensitivity or what have you. But yeah, no, that there needs to be some sort of change. Hopefully a Tua rule, right? Is that what we're going to name it? Tua rule or Russ rule? I don't care. Just a new rule would be good.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said for saving the player from himself. And I think that's it's a wise move. I'll say this. I do wonder what the decision would be if the Broncos were 9-4 or 10-3 instead of 3-10. I'd like to believe the decision would be the same. I'm a little bit cynical, I'll admit that, but I would like to believe that they would put the welfare and health of the player first, no matter what the situation were. That if it were week 18 and you were 9-7 and you needed a win to go to the playoffs and he were concussed, that you'd say he's not playing this game because we're going to be thinking about the organization. We're going to be thinking about this fella's long-term health.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like, I would hope it would be the same. I don't think it would be. But, that's just the way it is. Now, what do they do with Brett Rippon? I'm writing my game plan now at denverfan.com and putting together some film that people can watch within the article. It's like, okay, Brett Rippon, you got two guys, and I want Brett Rippon to be like Linus. It is Charlie Brown Christmas special time, right?
Oh, yes.
Always got to watch that, including Rudolph and It's a Wonderful Life. I always watch It's a Wonderful Life.
You know what, though, with Rudolph, I mean, I guess I'm a little bit too cynical for that show because after the way they wouldn't let him play in any reindeer games and they tormented that poor reindeer. And now you need him. Okay.
Right.
He was different. He had the red nose. You ostracized him. now you need like Rudolph, like now you need me. I honestly, because, and maybe this says a lot about me as a person, nothing good. I'd be like, no, bleep, no. Are you kidding me? You guys, y'all spent the last several years, decades, whatever, making my life misery. And you think I'm going to bail you out now because of what I have that you made fun of me for all these years? No, unless there's significant financial compensation.
There you go. See, I'd say,
let's make a deal here. Hey, big guy, let's make a deal. You want my help? You need me now? I want 50% profit sharing.
Yes.
Boom.
Santa,
yes.
What are you paying? Come on, old man.
Everybody has a price, and mine is steep.
Yeah, because 50%. Holy cow.
Well, hey, you know
what?
You
ain't sliding down them chimneys, baby. Like,
no,
you're getting them there.
Yeah, he ain't getting to the chimneys without Rudolph guiding the sleigh tonight, right? And now all the reindeer love him, as the song goes. I mean,
you're right.
Yeah, right. Now they love him because now you actually see that the red nose has something to it, but you spent all those years dogging him. So anyway,
right. Come on.
And, yeah. Come on, man.
Rudolph has a pure heart. That
obviously
correct.
I don't. It was.
Watch your social credit score, Mace. We talked about that yesterday. You'll be down there with me, not being able to take the bus.
Well, that's okay. I'll just go put some carts in the corrals down at the Greenwood Village King Supers here, and I'll be good. But I love Charlie Brown Christmas. I absolutely I adore that. That is the goat of Christmas specials.
Now we bring it back on the road because I forgot what I was saying.
Because you're talking about Linus, you're talking about the security blanket, and who is Brett Rippon's security blanket? Jerry Jeudy.
And he's got two of them because I think Greg Dulcich could be one too. In fact, I think Dulcich might have better chemistry with Rippon than he did with Russell, because there were multiple times, like, people ask me, like, from a fantasy perspective, like, Dulcich got a bunch of targets but only had like 3 catches. What happened? I'm like, well, he's like carrying routes on that he should have stopped, that Russ is throwing to a certain spot. And he's also like stopping where Russ is telling him to carry on. Like, so those two weren't on the same page. It's just a young kid. Tight end, give me 3 years. Talk to me about Greg Dulcich in 3 years. I bet he's pretty good. Like, we've already seen flashes now. But the tight end, you got to get on that same page, where to sit down in a soft spot. He had more time with Brett Rippon. You know, maybe it's close now because, you know, Rippon's the backup, whatever. But, like, okay, maybe that's an opportunity. So I think you could double up on the Linus takes, Mace. You could have Jerry Jeudy as a security blanket, and you could have Greg Dulcich as one, too.
2 security blankets. I like that. And if you have 2 security blankets, that all of a sudden makes you kind of hard to stop. Right?
Yeah.
Because Arizona's defense is on the struggle bus at this point.
Yeah, their whole franchise is. Holy cow.
Oh, I mean, the stuff, the
Mexico
Kugler
City stuff
today,
the Kugler stuff,
mistaken identity, and Kugler looking a little bit like Steve Keim. Steve Keim, leave of absence right now. I mean, it got to a bleep show, a five alarm bleep show in a hurry this week. My goodness gracious. I mean, I said it earlier this week. I'll say it again. I thought and think the Broncos were winning this game no matter who was the quarterback. Now, I'll say this: if Brett Rippon goes down early, and we're seeing Jarrett Guarantano making his debut, I may have to rethink that. We are one play away, by the way, from the Jarrett Guarantano revenge game, because he was on the Cardinals practice squad and he was with them in the preseason too. So
he can give them all the tips.
Storylines.
Exactly. That's as a writer, that's what you're always doing, Mace.
Yeah, I am. As Mark Kisla and I both said, root for the story. Jarrett Guarantano would be a heck of a story. But I mean, you don't want to have to put him in there. We talked about this on air just now. The word, exciting that was used by Nathaniel Hackett to talk about if Guarantano came in there. Given what that would require, I'm not sure that's the word I would use. But
there are plenty of other words I would use if that was the case.
I mean, I guess what he's trying to say is it would be exciting for Guarantano if he got that opportunity. It would.
Sure, yeah.
You just don't like what it would take to create that opportunity.
Right. And
the
Cardinals can get after the passer. So that's the thing. And this offensive line has woes. We're talking security blankets. I'm like, quick stuff to Dulcich, quick stuff to Jeudy. Make it happen and protect your young quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. Make it, we'll see. But if Brett Rippon stays upright, this is a game the Broncos should win. Look, is he as good as Colt McCoy? No. Colt McCoy is the better quarterback of the starters in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Which team appears to be, and which franchise appears to be more functional at this point? And Bronco fans may not agree with me on this, but right now the Broncos are in a more functional state, and the players are more engaged than we see for the Arizona Cardinals right now.
Yeah.
So but boy, Brett Rippon versus Colt McCoy as a quarterback duel. Man, no, you know what, Cecil, you could actually get a 100 level seat in the end zone on Sunday at Empower Field at Mile High for $50.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. By the way, you said we're one snap away from Jarrett Guarantano, as I mispronounced his name. We're also one snap away from Trace McSorley. So imagine that.
That would be interesting.
Trace Run McSorley, around, making plays. Yeah.
Trace McSorley, who was ahead of Jarrett Guarantano on the Cardinals depth chart. So
Guarantano should have been me.
Yeah, Guarantano could not beat him out. That what a bonkers scenario that would be. And yes, you just mentioned the Cardinals pass rush. For all that's gone wrong with the Cardinals this season, the pass rush can still get after you. For all that's gone wrong, JJ Watt's still somehow healthy. I mean, who knew, right?
Yeah.
So, oh man, what a, as was said, I think it was an airplane at one point when Robert Hayes turns to the camera, breaks the fourth wall, and says, "What a pisser."
Oh, that's awesome. Tom wants to know, is Gregory gonna play? Looks like it, Mace.
Looks like he's gonna play. Looks like Billy Turner's gonna be up as well. Sounds like they're both good to go. The Broncos only have 51 players on their 53-player roster right now. Divine Zigbo, he's probably going to have a practice squad activation. He's played 3 games this year, but only one of them was as a practice squad activation. The other 2, he was on the 53-player roster. So I would expect at running back, Divine Zigbo moves up as a practice squad activation, with maybe Chase Edmonds coming off IR before the end of the season. He was working out off to the side today, along with Cortland Sutton. And roster spots 52 and 53 going to Randy Gregory and Billy Turner being activated. I expect we'll hear about that on Saturday, and they'll both be in uniform on Sunday. How much they play, I think Billy Turner might just be there as a contingency just in case, kind of like he was early in the season. And with Randy Gregory, I think he will be on a pretty firm pitch count, as it were, in terms of limiting his reps. But I'll tell you, like watching him in practice this week, the individual work, he looked fine. I was watching him today during one of the bag drills, and he looked quick, like really quick on his feet. So
yeah. No, Randy Gregory is not a bad player. He just never plays a full season. So.
Right, but he looks in great health and looks to be ready to go. So
okay, fantastic. Zach Allen's going to miss the game. In fact, he might be out for the rest of the year. I don't think they've determined that yet, but he's got the hand injury. And I believe, Mace, correct me if I'm wrong, but Zach Allen actually has the most sacks of anybody on the Cardinals defense. So if you're the Broncos offensive line, you get a bit of a break now with their, one of their best pass rushers. And Zach Allen got a hand injury. Byron Murphy, cornerback, had a back injury, did not practice all week. Both have been ruled out in week 15. So, you've got some spots. We can talk about the Broncos defense all day and what they can do against Colt McCoy. But now without Zach Allen, that's a significant injury for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, he's 1 sack behind JJ Watt. So he had 5.5 and Watt has 6.5. But that is something significant. He started all 13 games this year for the Cardinals. And then after that, I mean, the guy I'm interested to see, and he has had flashes just in all areas so far this year, not just the pass rush. And the one that I kind of, if I'm the Broncos, I'm a little bit worried about in matchup-wise is Isaiah Simmons.
Should
He's
have been a Bronco.
yeah.
He's one of those long lines of like,
Mhm.
I wanted him for inside linebacker because that's what he is.
Yeah, and he's a little bit of a Swiss Army knife, but that's a guy who more and more has shown the ability to kind of to screw teams up for in multiple spots. And really, I mean, between Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins, I mean, they've got a couple of ballers there on that second line of defense, and a couple of ballers who can do myriad things. You can drop them into covers, they can be effective. You can rush the passer with them, and they're effective as well. They're good tacklers. I mean, that's they've got some studs on that side of the ball right now, and we haven't even gotten into Buda Baker and how he can go in the box and how he can drop deep as well. I mean, this is it's a talented defense.
And they've been inconsistent.
Yeah,
like there's times when Arizona's defense looks really good and you're like, way to go, Vance Joseph. And there are other times when they get waxed and you're just like, what the hell happened? Because they have talent at all three levels of their defense, not just up front in the front seven or not just in the secondary. You could go at every position and say that guy's a stud.
They've had some late letdowns. And as good as the Broncos defense has been, you can say the same thing about Denver's defense too. Late letdowns. I mean, look at the now they didn't get any help in the Charger game from the offense being able to contain the Chargers pass rush and the offense going 3 and out. But kind of letting up just a little bit late has been something that the Cardinals have struggled with on the defensive side so far this year. So it's an interesting matchup. And actually, I would say, even though I'm picking the Broncos to win this game, in terms of overall talent on the field for this game, the Cardinals definitely have more talent out there for this game, with all respect to what the Broncos have, because we're rattling off Collins and Watt and Baker and Simmons, and you go to the offensive side,
DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Brown, I love Trey McBride, James Conner.
They've got the Cardinals have more explosive capability, and if the Cardinals win this game, is because those players with more explosive capability end up making plays. Alessandro Rhymes asks, is Dalton Risner going to start? I expect he will. Looks good to go for this game. So Quinn Bailey settles back into being a reserve. I expect Dalton Risner good to go at left guard for this game.
Tom's saying 9-6, but there's a feeling, and I'm not predicting this because Lord knows it could be 9-6. Sometimes these games get a little crazy at the end of the year when it's backup versus backup and you don't know, and there's Brett Rippon, it's Colt McCoy. Like, I'm not saying 35-28, but maybe they surprise us on something.
Let's face it, with the Arizona Cardinals, for all the defensive talent that they have, they've given up more points than anybody else in the league this year. 26.8 points per game. Broncos dead last in scoring offense. Arizona dead last in scoring defense. So this is going to give the opportunity for the Broncos to make some plays. This could end up being that sneaky 31-28 type of game.
Yeah.
Of course, that being said, to get there, the Broncos defense has to be off, and I can't see 2 weeks in a row. They gave up 27 points to the Chiefs last week because the Chiefs, of course, had a touchdown on defense with the Willie Gay pick 6. I can't see this Broncos defense giving up a big number twice in a row.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I think Denver wins this game.
And Colt McCoy used to be able to scoot. I mean, he wasn't bad at Texas, but he can't move now.
Yeah.
So you have a pocket guy, veteran guy, whatever. Yeah, sure. Knowledge, very smart, nice. But like he can't move anymore. So that's an advantage for Denver. And I, like you, don't think the Denver Broncos defense is going to slip this week. And it's not Colt McCoy necessarily. It's just he's old. He doesn't move anymore like he used to.
Makes it a lot easier for Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson on the back end. Makes it a lot easier for Josey Jewell and Alex Singleton because they're not having to keep one eye on the quarterback, kind of like they were last week, keeping one eye on Patrick Mahomes taking off and keeping an eye on things happening underneath. Justin Simmons can basically drop back. He can, they can go single high. They can go single high safety. They can go 2 high safety and just have them playing, playing playing both halves of the field and being in position to make plays on the ball. So this is it's a game the Broncos should win. If I'm picking a score right now, I'd say 24-17 Broncos.
Okay.
Broncos do get to 24. And hey, maybe we're talking about 28 points last week, 24 points this week. That's a step in the right direction.
They're trending in the right direction. Mace, you had me sit up in my seat because, dude, I didn't get to talk with you yet about it. Chop it up. Josey Jewell was outstanding last week on the coach's tape. Like, just credit to Josey Jewell. And I know I credit him on Twitter, but like, dude, an amazing, like the way he was tricking Mahomes. How many guys can say that? Because he's like, I'm covering Kelsey. No, I'm not. Like he was doing that to that quarterback. So hell of a game from Josey Jewell.
And don't forget, Ejiro gives Jewell a great deal of latitude to freelance and kind of read things and read and react and make his own call out there in terms of what he's doing to kind of drop into coverage and fool Mahomes. So with all respect to the Broncos scheme, when you see that, that's Josey Jewell just being the smartest player on the field. And look, I know there are people that out there like, oh, he struggles in coverage, yada, yada, yada.
Well, that's me. I said it last week. I'm like, he always struggles in coverage, and then he didn't. So great job, Josey Jewell.
But the reason why he's here is because he is the smartest guy out there on the field when he's playing. His football IQ is off the charts. And what's more, he's a quick thinker. You can have a high football IQ, but if you don't have that ability to rapidly diagnose and react and also get everybody else set up too, what use is it? Well, Josey Jewell has that. That's why of all those inside linebackers the Broncos could have brought back from last year. Remember, they had a bunch of guys with expiring contracts, and people are like, oh, they should bring back Alexander Johnson.
Right.
Bring back Kenny Young. They chose Josey Jewell for a reason, and it's proven to be a very wise choice.
It's been an outstanding choice for sure. So Josey Jewell, an orange and blue today, mile high salute to you, sir. Or actually, I could just do this, Mace. I could click this. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
See, always thinking. So there's a YouTube series that I watched, and it's like all the people that are famous from the memes, right? Like the one lady who does and then that one, and then that guy that I watched. Like there's a mini documentary.
There's the guy that's like blinking too. Like
So they interview all those people, and it's like a little mini documentary. So it's like 15-20 minutes, whatever. But like they interviewed that dude, and he was like, "Yeah, I was just going around doing some stuff in London, and I just pointed to the kid like that, and that became like super meme." So it's like I don't know the name of it.
Eddie Murphy.
Exactly. That's what a lot of people thought. Like, oh, that's got to be Eddie Murphy, right? Like, from back in the day.
Well, there is the one where it's the bearded Westerner, like you zoom in and nodding his head.
You know who that is now, don't you?
That's Robert Redford.
I know. Everyone thought it was Zach Galifianakis.
Right. Yeah, that's Robert Redford and Jeremiah.
Sure it was Zach Galifianakis.
Very old movie, Jeremiah Johnson.
Yeah, he's no Johnny Appleseed.
Which I think isn't that set in Colorado?
I believe so.
Jeremiah Johnson. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, after you're done watching Orange and Blue today, go watch those mini documentaries because that stuff's kind of fascinating to me, like internet culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's cool, man. Just all the things that we adopt, kind of along the way.
They become part of the zeitgeist.
That's
I just like using the word zeitgeist.
I like zeitgeist as well. So there you go. We've got our predictions. I think we're doing pregame, so I'll be on with you Sunday. I'll talk to Rachel. Rachel, help me.
It's the 2:05 game, so it's my brief cameo.
Yeah,
before I get
we'll
the
be like
12:30
something.
I think it's 12. It's a 12:30 start time. Yes, and I mean, really, I think the only thing we're kind of waiting on with the inactives and heading into that is Draymond Jones got bumped up to questionable today. So we're kind of waiting on that, even though even though he didn't practice this week. Holy Diver points out Jeremiah Johnson was filmed in Utah on Robert Redford's land, of course, because he owns a lot out there.
Yeah, that's for
Sundance
sure.
is his thing, so Oh man, yeah, but but I still think it was set in Colorado.
Okay,
hang on before we go. Oh, this is always great. A great show here. Like it takes up Mountain Man. Oh, I don't know if it says here on it. Doesn't.
No, on IMDb.
Oh,
No?
film set in Colorado. There it is.
Boom.
Shot in Utah, set in Colorado.
Should have been shot in Colorado.
Well, it's like Red Dawn, the original Red Dawn, set in Colorado, filmed in New Mexico. I mean,
Cheaper.
cheaper. But what are we doing here?
We got to be like Georgia, man. Georgia. That's why everything's like made in Georgia. Like they got that Georgia. Everything's made in Georgia because it's cheaper.
The beauty of Georgia as a film site too is that it can stand in for so many places. Like,
yes.
If you want something like if you want coastal, tropical kind of look, they've got that when you get down toward like Savannah and the Sea Islands down there. Atlanta, it's the vegetation there. Atlanta could be Chicago, it could be New York, it could be Pittsburgh, it could be anywhere. Pittsburgh's another city, by the way, that was kind of a chameleon. Pittsburgh can do kind of a stand-in for Chicago and New York from time to time as well. So, yeah, we need Colorado films to be films about Colorado to be filmed in Colorado, not Utah, not New Mexico, Colorado.
Yes, so like Philip Lindsay.
Yeah,
from Colorado went to Colorado.
Yes, exactly. And if someday they're filming the Coach Prime story, I don't want to see I don't want to see something in Oregon standing in for Boulder. Oh, by the way, another film, War Games back in 1983. The scenes that are supposedly in Colorado are out west. I think some are in California and some are in Washington State.
War Games was the shall we play a game one?
Wouldn't you rather play a nice game of chess? Yes. Strange game. The only winning move is not to play. Boy,
yeah.
Saw that when I was 7 years old. If that
didn't scare the bejesus out of you, I don't know what did.
I loved it though, because it was all the computer stuff and all that. And I have a very strange fascination with Calamity. Like, I like nuclear Holocaust fiction. I've probably consumed just about all of it in my time.
Forget Book of Eli. We need Book of Mace.
There's some dark places in my mind, Cecil. I really go to some dark places that I only let people have a smallest glimpses of. But
little peek. Yeah. That's it.
That's
Theater of the mind, my friend. Theater of the mind here. It's Orange or Blue today. We get a little crazy on this show. It's Friday. Everyone have a safe and happy weekend. He is Andrew Mason. You follow him on Twitter at Mace Denver. Don't follow me at Cecil Lammey. I think I'm gonna use that as my thing. Like, just don't follow me. Like, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not on Twitter much in it. Every time I turn on Twitter and I see people arguing, I'm just like, oh, this is stupid. It's stupid.
Oh, it's getting stupider too.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Be safe. Be kind. Know that you are appreciated. He's Andrew Mason. I'm Cecil Lammey. As always, stay tuned. And I ask that you please stay frosty,